been able to tell, to share my story. That's a heavy burden to bear. Knowing that there's something inside of you that you want to share, that you want to be, in order for you to live your best life. I'm just not comfortable yet. And I'm glad he's able to feel that he's comfortable enough. And maybe this can help some other young men and young women live their best life, Skip, because a lot of times for me, I was able to be successful because I had a brother. I saw my brother do it. I'm like, well, hell, we came from the same place. We ate the same food. We lived in the same house. He did it. I can do it.
That's a big deal.
That is a big deal. So now, Skip, hold on. There are a lot of young men out there that say, hold on. This dude in the NFL. Now, he just didn't get like this yesterday. So he made it to the NFL. You see other young men and women coming out, be it Hollywood, be it CEOs. And so now they can say, well, hold on. He or she did that. I can do that.
Okay, but obviously this is the National Football League, the last bastion.
Macho among macho,
yes.
Testosterone to the umpteenth degree. There's no professional sport that the testosterone level runs as high as this. But I think, Skip, you've been around it. You covered it longer than I played, and I've been around it. You understand that today is more accepting than what it was in the 70s and 80s. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think David Copay was the first to come out, Skip. He wrote a book, I think, in the 70s, maybe 80s. And then we had some others, Jerry, I think the guy with Washington football team tight end.
Yes.
Came out. We had Wade Davis, Ezra
We've actually had a pretty lengthy list.
Yeah, they're starting to come. But
all
after.
But
I think now, Skip, because, as I said, the locker rooms are a microcosm of society, it's more accepting because we see society seems to be more accepting. Whereas before they're like, Tyler, no, you can't tolerate, you got to be accepting. Because someone's orientation is different than yours, you can't castigate them, you can't look down upon them.
Yeah.
And for me, Skip, I just need to know one thing. Can you help me win? Don't give a damn what you do in your time.
Yep.
I don't care what, as long as you ain't breaking the law or hurting anybody, I don't care. Can you help me win? Because that's what we're here for. That's how I want you to judge me. Can I help you win? Because that's how I'm judging you. Can you help me win? I am so glad that this young man feels comfortable and confident enough that says, you know what? Enough of this.
Yep.
I can't live my life another day bearing this burden. I need to share it. He did. I'm glad Jenny said he got 500,000 likes, and hopefully it helps some other young men, some women, because he donated, $100,000 to the Trevor Project to focus on suicide prevention for LGBTQ youth. So I'm happy for him. I'm proud of it.
Good. So my first reaction was yesterday when I heard a quote from Mark Davis, the owner of the Raiders, son of the great Al Davis, obviously, and I believe Mark Davis might be as open-minded as any of these owners when it comes to any of these kinds of social, racial type issues. Right. So I do think that Carl's in a good place here with the right man at the top.
Yes.
But Mark Davis's statement said, I thought we got to the point where this wasn't a story anymore. And when I first saw Carl on one of the networks where I saw the video, my first thought was, wait a second, I thought there were several who were out.
Right.
No, they're not.
No.
I've just been aware of so many post-career.
Correct.
And covering teams through my many years, you being on teams, I was aware of so many who were in the closet that at some point in my head, I thought we had sort of passed this point of no return where it had become widely just completely okay in the locker room. To the point that Mark Davis is saying, I thought we got past this point that this even needs to be a story. Well, no, he's the only one. He's the only active player. I'm not so sure, Skip, that every time someone does this in football, I'm not so sure it's not going to be a story because of, as you said, the hyper-masculinity that's associated with football. Okay. So now we get back to Carl Nassib. And to me, it's going to take a specially built young man to step forward and break this ground. Because Michael Sam struggled with it. Did you go through? I know I was on. I
was on your show with Michael Sam.
I think we did do it.
We did
back in the ESPN days. But remember, Michael Sam, I watched him a lot at Missouri, and I really liked him as a football player. He was co-SEC Defensive Player of the Year, and with C.J. Mosley, and I thought, he can play. So it'll be just fine because he can play. And then he lasted until the 7th round and the 3rd pick from the bottom. And it felt like the Rams just did the league a favor. They were then the St. Louis Rams. He was at Missouri. Just up the road in Columbia.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, we'll try this.
Yeah.
And he didn't last through training camp and was cut. And I thought, that's just bizarre. My Cowboys took a flyer and put him on the practice squad, and he didn't last a month on the practice squad. And the word out of Dallas was,
he can't play.
And he also wasn't taking football nearly as seriously as he was his cause as a new spokesman and a sort of the face of that, you know, the NFL movement when it came to that. So the point was, Michael Sam couldn't play well enough, and he also, I never got the feeling he was that comfortable in the role.
Right.
Carl's comfortable.
Yes.
As we saw in Hard Knocks when he was first with the Browns.
Right.
He's got a big personality. He's got a little showman in him, which is very necessary here to be able to withstand all the attention that he's going to get when he goes to training
negative
camp.
attention, because you know what's coming, Skip. You know how fans are for opposing teams.
Both ways, but he's just going to get a whole lot of attention. A lot of it will be great attention, but you have to thrive on it.
Right.
And you have to be able to protect your teammates from the fallout of it, because they'll get tired of talking about it after a while, but you should be the center of attention.
It is. And Skip, that would be my thing. And I would tell them and say, look here, we don't discuss. I'm not going to discuss what this man does in his personal time. Okay. Just like I don't discuss what player X does in his personal time. Mm-hmm. Now, if we want to talk football, as I said before, I'm happy for him. Okay. He's comfortable. I'm comfortable. So let's just move, because we're not going to do this every single day. Well, how is Carl? Carl is the same as he was yesterday. Before I found out he was like this, he's the exact same way. Now I just know he has a different orientation than mine. Okay. That's it.
All right. Got it. So what do we know about Carl's background? Well, it's fascinating, and it's rare. His father played college football at Delaware, but his big brother Ryan was a draft choice of the Giants and was Eli's backup for a couple of years before he bounced around. So there's bloodlines. He had what you just talked about. He had a Sterling in a way, a guy who could show him how it's done. Yes. But he wasn't good enough in high school. When he wasn't even a starter for his high school team, he walked on at Penn State, which is, as you know, it's hard to walk on at Penn State. It's a loaded program.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he not only made the team, but he hung in and hung on and didn't start until he was a fifth-year senior. And guess what he was as a fifth-year senior? He was the Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten. And he won the Ted Hendricks Award, and he won the Lombardi. These are national awards for defensive linemen / linebackers. Right. Okay? So he won all the above as a fifth-year walk-on, first-year starter at Penn State. Is that not rare to you?
That's very
that takes some gumption.
Right.
It takes some resilience to hang in all that for 5 years to get to that point and then flourish. Then he was only a third round. You would think off that he'd be a higher draft pick, but he was a third rounder by Cleveland, where we saw him on Hard Knocks, obviously. Right. And then he was there a couple of years, got cut, bounced a couple of places, Tampa, and then went to the Raiders. But he got some money to sign. He was 3 years, $25 million, got a pretty big guarantee to sign with the Raiders. Right. Okay, well, that'll work. Right.
Imagine the burden that he was carrying, Skip, all along, had this, and he was dealing with this and trying to play football, and you're worried about, man. Because that's the thing, Skip, to have a secret and to like, man, is this the day someone blows my cover? Now he can really be free. He can really be free.
But maybe he was one who didn't really care whether his cover got blown.
I'm not.
You want to do it on your own terms, which you finally did.
But Skip, I want to be fair here now, because I keep saying, and we use this, the locker room is a microcosm of society. Now, just like everybody in society is not accepting of this, don't think everybody in the locker room will be accepting. Clearly. Just like we see vaccinations. Clearly. And you saw Cole Beasley, and we saw some of the other guys like, I'm not getting it done. While some of the other guys like, you need to get it done because, we're a team. But so let's not. I'm happy, and I'm sure some of the other guys will be more than accepting, and they're not gonna say anything publicly. They're not gonna, man, I can't believe you did that. You live your life like this. Yep. But it is what it is. I have no problem with it, and I'm happy for him because he had enough courage to say, you know what, this is who I am. Guess what? I was sacking the quarterback before y'all knew. Guess what I'm gonna do now? Still go get the quarterback.
Yep. So I first was aware of him on that Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
little speech that he gave to the defensive linemen in their meeting, where he went up to the whiteboard and he lectured them about who knows what compound interest is.
Right.
And he was trying to explain, if you just take your money now and forget about a financial advisor, if you can invest it at 10%, and my first thought was, hey, Carl, if you can find me a 10% you can trust, please, I'll sign up right now.